I wanted to make a quick video on the subject of these conga heads. These are Evans Tri Center synthetic conga heads. I've had two for 8 years, and I recently, today, received this one, excuse me, which is a brand new one because I've now got a third drum. So I couldn't find any videos about this particular head, so I thought I would make one, and the benefits of using synthetic heads rather than cowhide. I think this is cowhide. This is just a regular LP head, cowhide. I know there's different animal skins and they all sound a bit different, but I'm just going to be very direct about this, and that is synthetic heads are better for me, but possibly for you too, and there are a number of reasons that they may be. So the first reason is that I personally, for me, I prefer the sound. People say, okay, there's more overtones and there's less overtones and it's a purer tone from the animal skin heads. Yeah, okay, you could say that, but the simplicity is it's easier to get a good volume of sound out of synthetic heads. I've always played percussion with other people in bands. And in bands, you're dealing with a volume situation. And as soon as I got into percussion, I very quickly realized that I wanted whatever instrument was going to cut through the best. Whatever version of it is going to allow it to sing through whatever is in the mix, I'm going to go for that version. And I set off with getting the bongos, the LP Fibreglass. These ones, which I've had for many years, and they've also got these Evans heads on, because they cut through. They cut through, and it's just easier to be heard. And you know, like if you want to argue about the sound and stuff, yeah, that's true. If you're playing in a little village hall in Cuba with your friends, then that's maybe not the primary concern, because you know it's an acoustic situation. But if you're playing on a stage with amplified instruments, with a drum kit, through a PA system, your sound is anyway in the hands of somebody else. What you sound like to the audience is at the mercy of the sound engineer, the sound boy. So it's anyway irrelevant what heads you use, because however he EQs it, that's how it's going to sound. So that's the first reason. The first reason is you get more sound. You just get more sound out of these synthetic heads. The second reason is to do with where you live. So I live in England, I live in the north of England, and it's very humid. It rains a lot and it's cold for all year, apart from a bit. We have a saying in the farming community around here, which is 9 months winter, 3 months bad weather. So that gives you an idea of what the climate's like around here. So in the winter particularly, it's just another concern. It's like, oh my God, if I don't slacken the heads off, they're going to stretch. If I had wooden drums, I'd be worried about keeping them inside somewhere where the temperature doesn't change too much, where they're not going to warp or split or get damp. But it's particularly the case with heads. I remember when I first started playing, I used to panic had I remembered to slacken off the heads, because like if you see, this is the stretch mark, for want of a better word, on the head. You can see how much of this head has stretched, and you only get so much before either it splits or you run out of thread on your tensioning lugs. If you can see that. So it's a concern. It's really, really a concern. So when I first took the plunge for synthetic heads, which was 2014, 8 years ago at recording, nearly 8 years, I couldn't have been happier with the initial result, which was that the sound was clear, it was cutting, and it meant that I no longer had to worry about detuning my congas after every time I practice with them, which gets me to the third reason, which is that the time. How much time have you got to practice, and how often do you practice your congas, and how much of that time do you want to spend tuning up your instrument, whereas you could just be playing? Like, it was the primary reason I just wouldn't practice, because if you've got half an hour, you've got to get them out, you've got to tune them up, and you've used maybe half your time tuning them up and getting them ready instead of just practicing. Whereas now, case in point, these have been in storage for I don't know how long. So long that there was a Hessian bag on this one that is, it's like got, I don't know if it's mold or something, it doesn't easily come off. I don't really want to wash it because some sort of detergent might affect the head. It's just aging, let's say. But it's got mold on it. It's been left in a barn, and a quick tune, and it sounds killer. It sounds just amazing. You can just forget about them and then get them out, play away. Simple. You know they're going to be in good shape. And these heads are 8 years old. They've been on the drums actually 8 years, and they still sound really, really, really good. These are the Evans ones. So there's a lot of videos online about the Remo ones and all the different variations. But at the time of recording, so I purchased this one 2 days ago on Amazon, and it was the lowest price I could find, £60.65. £60.65 for a flaming piece of plastic drum head. It's just like, so these ones, 2014, I think November, also in Amazon, because it shows you how much the previous purchase was. I paid $37 for this one and $37.50 for that one. So I'm guessing at the time this one would have been 38 quid. And I've just paid 60 quid for it. The Remo ones are like 100 plus, 110, 120. I didn't believe it until I saw it. It's just a lot of money. I appreciate that they're good products. And I appreciate there's a lot of innovation and a lot of work goes into it, but it's a lot. So the Evans ones sell a lot more readily in England, and that's the reason they're cheaper. But they are great. So those are the basic reasons. You get more practice time, you get more sound, and you get less worry. And particularly testament to that is these have been on 8 years. Admittedly, they've not been played every day. I do have another one that's had a lot more playing, and the textured surface has come off a bit, but it still sounds great. So yeah, and also like I've noticed, I think it's Eric Perez who's like, shout out to Eric, because I was watching your videos, really, really good. Eric Perez made a video about this subject, but he's got the Remo ones, and he was very sensitive not to offend anyone. But if you watch his gig video, he's using synthetic heads for the exact reasons, climate, temperature, humidity, and also volume. I'm sure that is a reason, but he can answer that himself if that's not correct. So I urge you to, I would urge you to use plastic heads because they last longer. Like I said, it's the reverse argument for clothes, because clothes made out of leather tend to last a long time rather than synthetic ones. But these conga heads made out of this synthetic material, they last longer and they need less caring for and give you more sound, more options for sound, and less options for worry. So if you're thinking about it, do it. And if you're thinking about congas, I know the Mo Perk ones are like really like in vogue at the moment, but I would say Fibreglass. I would say Fibreglass because you don't have to worry about them. You don't have to treat them like expensive pets. You can put them in a box and forget about them in the garage and they'll still be okay when you get them out. So yeah, anyway, thanks for tuning in. It's a pretty random video. I may make some more on this subject if necessary, but I'm just getting back into conga playing and loving it. I play at an open mic at Keswick on a Thursday nights in the Lake District, and I play percussion. I've got an LP Giovanni travel conga that I use, and I play an LP cajon and various other percussion, and like I accompany like singing guitar players and they love it. And particularly when I started bringing the conga, the travel conga, I get so many compliments on it because it actually sounds just like these. But anyway, that is another video. So I'm just getting really back into it. Yeah, so enjoy playing. Don't listen to people who make it too complicated for you. It's just about that feeling of, hitting something with your hand and getting a noise and coming up with ideas and getting pleasure from it. It's really not something, it's really not something to try and do a degree course in, unless you want to, but you don't have to treat it like you're studying nuclear physics. It's, it's art. So if you feel good about it, then it's good. Yeah? It's good. So don't let anyone tell you it isn't good. Right, I'm just going to play a little bit more, and thanks for watching.